Hi and welcome to How to Use CAD. I'm Tom Norris, and for today's tutorial I wanted to take a look at modern kitchen design. The aim is to give you an insight as to the basic structure and elements of a modern kitchen. So if you're ready for the lesson, let's get to work. To get the lesson underway, I've chosen an IKEA kitchen, pretty standard kitchen, you can see here. Basic white, nothing too special about it, but it's done on an old format with a couple of tall units here on the left. This is a fridge freezer and a fridge freezer unit. This is a tall oven housing with an oven, or it's either a double oven or a microwave oven or a 1.5. A few drawers underneath. These are standard 800 tall base units, and we're looking at 800 tall wall units. So very simple kitchen, and I thought we'd have a little look at it and see, just so we'd explore the elements. So here, this same kitchen I've already laid out. So normally the tall larder unit here is 2000 millimeter. So we'll talk in millimeters because it's easier to stay on one format. So it's 2000 mil for the tall fridge freezer unit in this case, and that sits on legs that are they're actually adjustable, but the standard size is 80 mil. So you've got 80 mils here, 80 mil here for this kickboard, which is hiding the legs. So 80 mil, and then you have 2000 the whole way up. So when you put a tall larder unit in the kitchen, that usually dictates then the height of the wall units, because the wall units need to line up at the top here. So what we're looking at here is a tall 600 wall unit, another tall 600 wall unit. Start again. What you're looking at here is a tall 600 larder unit or appliance housing unit. In this case there's a fridge freezer in there. Freezer is usually the shorter element, so it works on a standard door. They do come in different sizes, and as do the doors, so it will depend generally on what fridge freezer you actually pick to go in. It'll be what we call a recessed fridge freezer or a covered fridge freezer. Here you have standard oven, unit above, unit below, and again, like as I said, the wall units are dictated. The positioning of the wall units is dictated by the height of these tall towers. So you kind of work down for the wall units. Here, the standard unit sitting on 80 mil legs, and that's your height. Here, same thing, all I've added here is a bit of worktop. Worktops come in different sizes. Standard laminate could be 38 mil, 40 mil. You'll also get wood block, can be, you can get a thin one, 28 mil, 40 mil. Depends, you have to do your research here depending on the worktop you choose. What's very popular at the moment is quartz. Seems to be the most popular worktop going into decent kitchens within the UK. And quartz come in two sizes, generally 20 mil thick or 30 mil thick. So if we were doing a kitchen, basically if this was the size, something like that. As you can see, the kitchen overhangs a little here. Done the same there. Just sorry, the worktop overhangs a little, and again that's like 38-40 mil worktop. The distance here, there is a limit as to how low you can come because of the standard heights above the hob, etc., from the point of view of fire safety. So you never want to come down too far above a hob. Common sense will prevail with regard to the sink. You don't want to be bringing these units down too far. You want to get easy access to the sink. So wall units, I can of course stagger, and it's not uncommon to see them staggered. So if we wanted to stagger a couple of wall units, say in the middle here, we go for the next size. So the next size here would be, well, let's just do it. Tab 600. So we need to do a minus here. Oops, wrong way around. Yeah, you can tell this is live. You can always tell it's live with me, because I don't cut out the mistakes, because I think that's part of the process. Tab 6. So we could make which two? These two a bit shorter. All right. So what some people do now, they put a sink underneath here. If you look at the photo, they've got a sink and you've got this kind of a tall tap affair. So there's lots of taps like that. IKEA do a very tall one on a nice curve with a flexible hose that pulls out so that you can, great for washing all the bits and pieces. But so you choose, but always consider, if you're having the sink, if you want to raise the height above. The same if it's an oven, if you're having an oven in the middle or a hob, freestanding oven or a hob, then you might want to consider raising. These, in my mind, I wouldn't be. These are actually 800 at the moment. So we're looking at an 800 tall unit, a wall unit here. This is 600 tall, but theoretically you could actually bring this down. Let's see what it would look like on 1,000, because IKEA do a lovely 1,000 unit. So we do tab 1, and we come across. So now if I look at the size that's left before I go any further, and soon make a determination, you need about 600. Let's go from the top of the worktop. What are we looking at? No, that's a definite no-no. It's only about 350 left. So the point is, I did it, and of course I've checked out that it's an absolute no-no. So as I say, the height is dictated by the top of the tall larder unit. So for this particular kitchen, you've got the 2,000 larder unit sitting on 80 legs, and that's going to dictate the top height. I mean, obviously you could drop the unit and raise the units higher, but it would look rubbish. It would look, you're going over and going up and going across and so on. So it wouldn't look right. A lot of people are having kitchens now where they're not keen on wall units. So in fact, you could end up taking these out altogether and putting a few shelves in. So the sky is the limit. Other people then will dress it. I've seen one recently which was quite nice. The back splashbacks and an area above. So what they had was, they had a tall wall unit and a couple more here with a gap in the middle, and what they did was they did this with horizontal wood salvage timbers, kind of very, very rough, some of them painted, sanded down, banged up, and a random horizontal all the way along, and cutting edge down there. But and then they mounted the open hob, the open extractor on top, which again looks really, really well. So you got to play around with it. I mean, get some idea, maybe do a pen and paper first, just to fool around as to what it is before you're trying to put it into a formal design. So at the moment all I've got is lines illustrating tall units, base units, wall units. I'm not showing any drawers or knobs or anything, generally to emulate this. But you can see here, these are drawers, and you got what we call a saucepan drawer, which is a pretty deep one. And incidentally, you pull this one out, it might be a second drawer in there. In fact, it could be two. This one most likely is a double, meaning you open this outer drawer front, pull it out, and then there's two little drawers inside. Same here, even though you've got a hob on top. The hob, whether be it electric or anything else, they generally sit within the thickness of the worktop, which means they don't interfere with the drawers below. So again, this one here, you see there's no handle, and the reason for that is that that's a dummy drawer. Personally, I would have put the handle on it, even though it was a dummy drawer. And the reason it can't come out, of course, is because you've got the sink going down inside. This one also is suspect because by the time you put the sink in, which would come down to there, and then you put the traps and various pipework. So it's never a great idea having drawers underneath the sink. Maybe the bottom one you can get away with. And then if you wanted to keep the look, you know, the linear look, then that's fine. Put a couple of drawer fronts on and make them fixtures, and in my view get the handles on. It just looks a bit better. To keep, why would you have one without? Yeah, I spend the extra £2 or £3 and get a blinking handle. That's what I say. Right, so when it comes to making up the units, you need a bit of background knowledge. Like this is an IKEA kitchen. If you go to Magnet Kitchens or Wren Kitchens, UK Kitchens, there's loads of kitchen companies out there. Howden's is a very popular one, Wix, B&Q. Well, they're all slightly different. Some come in flat packs, some come in pre-assembled, but the range of units tend to be a little bit different. For example, IKEA, they do 600, 400, they don't do 300 and 500. But if you go to Howden's, they'll do a 6, a 5, a 4 and a 3. So they have a wider range of units. So you have to work that out. Now, when it comes to value, IKEA probably one of the cheapest kitchens available in the UK. But they're all flat pack, but they're, in my view, they're probably the best flat pack I've ever seen. And flat packs got a bad reputation many years ago, but in today's flat pack, once they're installed and installed correctly, then they're as good as any kitchen that's out there. So, as I say, the range of sizes. So when you're designing, for example, if you're designing an IKEA kitchen here, if you're designing an IKEA kitchen, you just need to know what the range of units are. And that's not difficult. All you do is go into Google and type in IKEA kitchen carcasses, base unit, wall units, tall larder units, and soon you'll know. You'll be able to check out what the range of kitchens are, so that you don't make the mistake of using a 500 unit somewhere in the line when they don't have it. So it means that if you then go into IKEA, or the client goes into IKEA, there's an element of shuffling going on or expanding, and the client won't know what to do, etc. But get your unit sizes right for the kitchen that you're looking at designing, be it, as I say, Wren, Howden's, Wix, B&Q, Magnet, etc. So we're looking at IKEA kitchens. I'm a big fan of IKEA. We use them a lot on our development projects. And what I love about IKEA most, apart from the look has to be right, but what I like, the look and the cost, but what I like also about IKEA is the fact that I can send someone down there to IKEA and they can come back with a kitchen later on today. Whereas with Wix and Howden's and the rest, you're going to be waiting 6 to 8 weeks. And if there's any kind of a change of heart on any of the units, or any kind of tweaking, you're going to be ordering up something else and waiting another 6 or 8 weeks. So theoretically, if you have to order any little item again, you could be waiting 3 months before you can complete your kitchen. And that's not a great idea. But IKEA, fantastic. Usually if they don't have the stock, then you can, they'll generally have it within a couple of weeks. Now, I'm not affiliated with IKEA or anything, I just happen to like the product, and this tutorial is based around the product. Right, let's have a look at the design of the actual units here. So this is a standard plan of 600 by 580 unit. So as you can see, we're 600 here and 500. These are the widths, these are your doors. So I'm going to make one for you now, and I'm going to make what I'm going to make is I'm going to make an 800 unit, which is what they do. So and again, there's no hard and fast rules on how to make a kitchen unit within CAD. So I could do it in a whole variety of ways. So I'm going to just to keep it in line here. I just want to keep in line. I'm going to ruin my display. Right, so we're going to do 800, so let me measure out 800. Tab 800, and I can tab again, isn't it? I can tab down. I'm using the parallel tool here, and so I'm going to tab 580. Now if I use my let's use the meet two times. This is a simple way of joining the lines together. Okay, you notice I've got my tools I use most on my right click pop-up. Hopefully if you've read my other tutorials, I've mentioned loads of times how to do that, how to get it in. Anyway, here we are, that's back, kitchen units. So thickness of the kitchen unit is 22 mil. So it's tab minus 22, tab 22. I speak out loud on what I'm doing most of the time, just so that you listen back, you'll understand. So if I'm hitting tab or I'm hitting using shortcut keys, I generally say them out loud. It sounds a bit boring, but it's helpful. Tab minus 22, tab 22. Now, so kitchen units, they're generally assembled like this. You have two short bits in the middle, and these are full length. So in other words, they're the 580. So they would look like that when once assembled, with the basically the attachments coming through here, screws, etc. They use dowels, and they use kind of a catchment tools, you know, one that fits into another. Useful technique. And they use Allen keys, so you don't even need a screwdriver. Right, so that's a basic unit. So let's make a door for the unit. So again, it's an 800, so we wouldn't have an 800 door because it'd be too heavy. It'd be falling down on one side. You know, after you hang it, after a little while, it's going to fall down. So what we'd end up with is two 400s. So let's do a 400 door for starters. And again, the door is 22 mil. So tab 400, tab 22. And that's a standard door. Now, so what I would do here is I would put an angle on it. And the angle would be, where are we here? I just used 10%. 10%, no, not 10%, 10 degrees. Right, let's bring it down here. So the door is never sitting right to the edge like so, because if it was, it would be interfering with the door on this unit, if there was a unit. So the doors always sit in 5 mil. So from a design point of view, what did I do just there? That's fine. From an easy little, this is a cheat of course, what I do here is I do a tab 5. So I've got a little projection of 5. This is basically for joining up. It's an easy way of doing it. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of that before I join it. Right. So let's illustrate, or let's show the door. D. And then it's very easy. I just pop it onto the corner. I know it's 5 mil in, and I know it's 5 from the center. Now, as you can see, I need to do the other side. Simplest way of doing that, we just do a mirror copy, and we don't really need this one. So now we do the mirror copy, and again I use the D to change the yellow circle. There you go, and that's a proper join. So now you've got an 800 unit. So do you know how to measure that? Let's just do it. Yeah. There you go, 800, and that's a base unit. So 800 base units. So my view is that if you're going to be doing quite a few kitchens, then what you want to do is, let's say, complete a little, what would you say, a library of units. So in effect, what you would do is you get rid of that. Right, what you would do is a library of units. In other words, you can get a 1200. You can get 1000, you get 800, you get 6, you get 5, you get 4, you get 3. So my view is that if you're going to be doing loads of kitchen design, then create a library of units just the same as this. And when you've done them, then it's probably wise, because you're going to put a door on them, so it's probably wise then to do a mirror image, and so that you have them with the doors going the other way. So once you have your library done, let's see what we would do. So if I was building this kitchen now, this kitchen here, using this kind of layout and working from my library, let's see what I would do. Let me just pull these down a bit closer to where I need them. And so now I'd want to start off with a 600. And let's do it like so. Now the doors will be opening this way because I'm in a corner here. Where we go. So just pop it down there. And don't need the sizing. It can go. Now. There you go. That's a 600 in the corner. Now that's this unit here. That's going to be a fridge freezer inside. Now we want basically the same for the oven housing. See, it's not rocket science, is it? You do this for a client. It looks very impressive. I did this little wall and a wall here, just so that I could do a little fill on it, and then it makes the kitchen. It gives it a far better look than just putting them in a row like this. If you have a bit of wall area, put a bit of pink in there, put a bit of orange, anything you want as a filler. So now we're going to have the base units. We've got the base and the wall, so let's not worry about the wall units just yet. I'll show you how these are done in a bit. So this drawing is all about the base units. So what we've got is 1, 2, 3, 4 600s. And that's wrong now because of the door. So at some point we're going to change the way. So this is the center of the kitchen. So I'll do all these three with I'll say these 4 with the doors opening this direction, and then I'll switch them over. So what I need is another couple of these. So yes, we don't need you. Get lost. Right. Again, it certainly isn't difficult. And go again. Right. So now we change the this one is in the middle. It could go either way. Incidentally, this isn't lining up. It's not exactly lining up. Let's just make it line up a bit better. There you go. I'm getting paranoid here. I think all designers are like that. They get paranoid when they see things out of alignment. So what we want now is we want the other one. We want, let's see if it comes again. Yeah, as soon as I select it, it comes with the measurement. I hadn't noticed that before. I'm having second thoughts actually about the direction of the door on there. Yeah, I'm having second thoughts. So what am I going to do? Let's just change the door. So let's pop this in first, and then we'll redo the door. T. So it doesn't take long to make up the library of units, and then it's so much more fun. to let's just grab a door there. It's so much more fun putting the units together accurately. Do my little bit of 5mm here, tab 5. Oops. So pop the door in the other way, and we're going to go to join to this point here. D. There you go. So that's looking good. We got another 500 here. I should have copied, or I should have made another one, but I didn't. So I think I'll be safer to come back here and make another copy. Right. Has anyone seen the mistake yet? I have made a mistake, and I'm going to show you in a few moments. But you have to think about what the mistake is before I tell you. This, if you know anything about kitchens, you will know what the mistake is already. It's a deliberate mistake, I can tell you, because that's the best way of teaching, is to make the same mistakes that you're going to make, and then you go, wow, yeah, I don't want to make the same mistake as Tom did. Let me show you how to do it properly. Right. If I'm whispering, it's because I'm focusing. Right, so here we are, we're emulating this slightly. Right, these are all carcasses, yeah, the carcass unit. So if you're looking at here, we're looking at a tall 2000 by 600 tall carcass, appliance carcass. Same here. And then these are all 600 units. Now, normally what would happen is before we add on these units, you will put a side panel on the side of this carcass. Because if these doors are white gloss or red or blue, you want the colouring of the carcass to match up. And of course they don't. The carcasses only come in, the plain white mat. So what we always have to do here is fit a side panel. A side panel to the whole tall unit. So all of these units have to shuffle over about 12mm. Same on the base. Right, so now what I do is I grab everything and let's put in the side panel. And the best way of doing it is doing it here. So there should be two there. Get rid of that one. And tab 2. Right, so now what I got to do is I got to tab. It's the side panel is 12mm. So tab 1, 2. And what that means then is when I look at the side of this unit from here, looking in, I'm going to see the appropriate color or the appropriate finish. If everything here is white gloss, then that'll be white gloss. So we always use side panels, and I'll show you. Say for example, a side panel would be needed here and here because you've exposed the side of these wall units. So if you have a short unit, you always have to factor in a 12mm side panel, both sides, so everything shuffles down. The problem with that, sometimes it can be a pain, is that if you don't have anything down, you have a choice. You either put in to keep the alignment, to keep the lines correctly, and sometimes that's very important. You might have to put a 12mm side panel between these base units there and there, just to keep the lines going. Probably not something I would do. I would say that's close enough, it's not necessary, but some people would feel it was necessary, so you just have to decide. Right, let's get this back in again. There you go, you've got your side panel in, which means that's going to look lovely. Now, right at the end, what do we need at the end? Any ideas? Well, of course we need another side panel, so it's tab 12 again. Where's it gone? Disappeared. Tab 12. Press the enter next time. Or I think I might see what the problem is. There we go. Right, tab 12. I wonder why it's jumping. So I'm doing it correctly and it's jumping 2 over. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I might need to save the work and come back. You get the occasional blip. Do it freehand, 1185. That's close enough to represent what it is I'm doing. Yeah. So again, you see, when you're ordering your worktop, like for here, you have to make sure that the worktop isn't less than here, because so you got to understand that here you've got a 12 mil side panel, 12 mil, 12 mil. That's 36, and then you have here. So that's 4 side panels. That's actually 48. So this would be tab 48. So in fact, these units would actually end here on this line. So you come down. See, that's never going to look great. So make sure that your worktop comes out at least to the height of the top. That would be good design. So many ways you can get it wrong in your first 20 kitchens or so, but hopefully after that, by the time you do 20 kitchens, you'll be doing good design. So right, so what we're showing here is 2 big carcasses, and we're showing the base units, but of course we have wall units. Now wall units, we can mirror the sizes like we did up here, but of course they don't project the same. So a wall unit, depending again on whose kitchen, we're looking at about 400 out. So what I would suggest then is, rather than going nuts and having a million lines, is all we do is tab 400 and go as far as there. We're going to put that on just a little grey line. Where are we? From there. So the wall units start at that point. That's your side panel. Wall units start and finish on this line. So now another way of depicting these units is to because the top corresponds with the bottom to a point, which means you're probably better off to redraw. And let's just give you an example again. And this time what you would do is create all these units and make them shorter. So in effect, let's do it like this. Now it's not a question of pulling everything in, because that's not really going to work, because then the 22 mil becomes less, etc, etc. You know, if I just compress the whole square. Get rid of my line here. Quick way of doing this, anybody? Right click, you're so right. Pick the join. Yeah, no, that's not quite right. Actually, it might be easier. I'm wondering if I can just go like so. Yeah, that's much easier. So you have to think about it. You got so many tools to choose from, and you think, okay, what's the best tool for this situation? There you go. That easy. And this is a display. Got rid of something I shouldn't have here. That was the end panel. And then this end panel here, oops, not there, where's the end panel? Missing a line here. There you go. Okay, so now what you do, I guess, would be to go something like 400 wall. Only difference is you'd make sure it was that it's going to be able to fit in the cupboard. So if we look at the text, we do something like 50. You do 400 wall, and then you copy that over. Except it's not 400 wall. Oh yeah, it is. It's 400 wall here on the edge because we're using IKEA. These are 400, right? More or less. Actually, it's quite wrong. It's a 500 unit, so it should match up with this. Okay, it doesn't matter. You're grasping the idea. So if I want to be technically correct, I have to change it. For those of you who are extremely fussy, then let me show you. Let's not let the standards decline. Okay, so we got 500, 6666. Put those in. What I often do is I go I do it like this: 800. 500. So I'm giving the height as well as the width. Yeah, that's a good idea. And pop them in. Pop all the numbers in. So that's here you can write larder unit, appliance housing 200, give the measurements, and then there name this one base units, layout, and then you and of course if you want to exclude something in the drawing that's there already, then what you can do is you can just change the color on them. That's what we do quite a bit of. So in other words, you're not highlighting that. I'm just saying these are the base units. So that line should be black. Okay, don't be black. Right, do a new one. There. You want to be troublesome. Right, getting the hang of it. So you can see this is a very basic kitchen. It's great to have a little photo there. Bring in a photo, something to keep your eye on, as against going to an external or a second screen. You've got it there. So now I'm showing you how to do. So yeah, if you wanted to redo that now, and if you wanted to redo it more accurately, then I'd say take out the appliances. And what you do is put an end panel in there the whole way down, then come across. If you decide to go like so, okay, this cooker looks pretty ugly. I think it's an old CAD block, but yeah, get your end panel in, and then you do your annotations to show a 12mm end panel, etc., etc. Do your sizing, and then again you can run the sizing like so all the way across, which always looks quite nice. So there you go. We're looking at elevation plus layout for a very basic kitchen design. Of course, if you're doing an island now, the island would be pop the island here. So let's just try that again. If we're doing an island, islands are very popular. Most of the designs that we do, we're adding islands all the time, and the island would be anybody know? Well, the island would be approximately a minimum of 1100 away from the wall units. So if I was doing it, let's do and then what about the depth? Well, let's face it, 650 will be if we just want to cover a range of units like here. 900 if you want a bit of breakfast bar. So let's just do 900. So we tab down. There you go, 900. So if the units were coming here, then we'd have 1100 again there. In this case they're not, but so the island there now we're looking at 2375. Well, you might round it off to here, you know, just run a line again and so that's your island. In your island maybe you're going to have a kitchen sink, but what I was really showing you was always keep this distance 1100. You might make 1050 if you're pushed, but 1100 is better. And that applies to all the way around, so you have proper clearance. The other thing about the breakfast bar is, and really popular, is that some people will want a couple of chairs on this end or on that end, or maybe some at the end or at the rear. So you have to discuss it with your client. And what we do sometimes is we do, in fact, let me just explain it. We take the corners, we change the corners on the islands. So let me show you how I can do that. So if I use my radius tool, I've got 50 mil in the radius box, so this is how we change the look of the breakfast bar. So you curve it, especially sharp edges, etc. So I've done all four corners. It's looking quite neat, but you can change the radius down here in the properties inspector or in the inspector bar. And there's another way of doing it, which I also like, which would be the chamfer rather than the radius. So it's all a matter of design and preferences. So let me just wind back and take off the radiuses, and now let's try the chamfer tool. So again, it's now 100 mil in the inspector bar. So let's see what the chamfer looks like on 100 mil. Right, so again, you've seen the choice. Just by changing the distance, it changes the look. So you play around with that and see how it works for you. Depends on the style of the kitchen. You know, if it's a nice flash modern white gloss kitchen, then with lots of square edges, then you might do better to keep it square with a tiny, keep it almost square with a tiny radius rather than using the chamfer. But again, play with it and see how it works for you. Right. What else can I tell you? Basic kitchen, IKEA. We've done elevations, we've done layouts. I've told you about the doors. Easy little tool here to make sure, easy little trick to make sure your door doesn't hang from the edge. It needs to hang from 5 mil in, and doors are always about 10 mil less than the actual carcass to facilitate opening and closing. Carcasses are 22, and the side panels go the whole way in, and then these are just joining panels, these strips here. So when you're measuring it all out, it's kind of important to know how these units fit together, and that's how they fit together. Again, legs will sit usually 4 legs on one cabinet, and they come 80 mil tall, and you can reduce them down if necessary. If you want to lower the height of your worktop, just reduce them down. But standard as they come, 80. And sometimes because you're not putting them down on a level floor, so you might be a good idea to, if you were fitting one, to make sure that the floor isn't completely too level, so that if the floor is unlevel and not very level, then you might start in the middle with 60 and then work. And this side will be 70 and this will be 50. You know what I mean. Try to get a balance going. What you don't want to do is be at the top of the 80 here and having to use loads of bits of timber and so on and so forth. So yeah, just give it a little consideration. But this isn't for the design, that's actually for the installation. And again, I fitted enough for them to know. Okay, I'm going to wrap this tutorial up. I think we've covered it in as much as we can. It's meant to be an introduction into kitchen design and basic kitchen design, so hopefully you've got you got something from it. You got a little value and worth your time that you spent watching. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching. See you in another video. Okay, bye bye.